Good morning, students. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, where are other students? Why I can only see 12 students in the class? After the class, I'll call. I'm in the class. Yeah, okay. Just a moment, students. I have to call my HOI. There's some important thing. I'm here only. Wait. Okay, sorry for the delay. So I guess now still 18 students and 11:22 students. मैंने जब वो क्लास में वो लगाया था ना पहले, फिर क्लास में एंटर नहीं कर पाओगे आप, मैं ब्लॉक कर दूंगी फिर. Make sure you by 20, at least 5 minutes are really more than enough for you all to join. Anyways, okay, so last lecture was on the diagnosis. Last two, three lecture we are discussing the diagnosis, that how we do the diagnosis for plant viruses or a human viruses. And you have another topic for the diagnosis of the animal viruses. So major the diagnoses are similar when we talk about the plant or a human viruses. Beside, there are some changes that maybe some diagnoses are more commonly used, like a virus cell culture is used for a human viruses, which is not used for a plant viruses. Majorly other techniques are more common. They are same. Real-time PCR, definitely we don't use in a plant virus diagnosis because it is very costly. So definitely we use in a human viruses, or we are actually very harmful. For example, in COVID-19, the real-time PCR is being used as a diagnostic, and on that basis, we say that this person is positive or a negative for the infection. So ELISA is there, ELISA-based test, but still we are relying more on the real-time PCR, right? So, okay. So who will tell me that what are some common method of diagnostics that we can use in both for human viruses also and the plant viruses also? Yes, they. Where is Devanshi? Why she is not in the meeting yet? Is there some Manaswani? Is there some exam going on in the last class?
No, ma'am, no, nothing.
No, nothing. Okay, just a moment. Okay. So, okay, who's going to tell me? Athoiba, can you answer this question? We have been discussing diagnostics since many lectures, last many lectures, right? So what are the common diagnostic methods that are used for detection of plant viruses also and human viruses also? No? Sam, Ishita, Nandini. So you don't know any diagnostic method. मैं पिछले 4-5 लेक्चर से जो बोल रही हूँ उसमें से आप लोगों ने कुछ नहीं सुना, and you have given the exam also, still you don't know what are the diagnostic methods that we use. So मुझे आगे, do you think is Manaswani, I know you're going to tell. I know at the end Manaswani will speak. I sometimes feel that मैं सिर्फ मानसवनी या 2-3 बच्चों को और पढ़ाती हूँ, बाकी बच्चों को मैं नहीं पढ़ाती हूँ, right? Yuvraj, written answers I don't want. I want you to answer, right? I want a verbal answers, right? At least show me some enthusiasm. So show me, and I'm repeating everything so many times. That's why I'm going very slow. I'm repeating everything 100 times so that you'll remember, right? And these are the diagnostic techniques. I'm sure ये आपने पहले भी अपने classes में पढ़ी होंगी. These are not new to you. Still I'm repeating all the techniques. Still I'm telling you everything so that आपका revision हो जाएगा, right? But still no. Okay, Namrita, answer.
Ma'am, in immunofluorescence assay, microarray, PCR, and ELISA.
Yes, Eliza. I said, yes, Shakti. I said common technique that we use for the viruses also, and plant viruses also, and human viruses also. जानवी,
मैम
आज मैंने
पीसीआर
आपको अंदर आने दिया है. Next time मेरी टीम पे it's 11:27. Why you guys are so late? Yes, Yuvraj.
मैम पीसीआर रियल टाइम
Yes.
पीसीआर
Yes.
and we use microarray and
Yes.
and there is some technique in which we culture the bacteria.
Eliza. Eliza. ELISA, these are the common technique. Hybridization is a common technique that is used in both cases, right? Yes, Namrita, can you tell me only techniques which are used in human viruses most commonly, not in plant viruses? No? Yuvraj, you've answered. Yes, Manaswani, can you answer this?
Ma'am, we can use cell culture. That's one of the most commonly
Yes.
used for human viruses.
Yes, cell culture is the most common technique that is being used. for the human viruses only, and RT-PCR and PCR, they are the same. Then heme agglutination inhibition assay, HI assay I discussed last time, which is being used for dengue viruses and rubella viruses and measles viruses, and very common technique that we use for the diagnosis. And sequencing is another technique which is common for the plant viruses also and the human viruses also, right? So today we are going to discuss again, there'll be overlapping, but there are few techniques which are different for, or we go for maybe a different ways of a diagnosis for animal viruses. Some techniques are different. Otherwise, PCR and ELISA, those are the common techniques which are being used here also, right? So this, we all know that virus is, they are a serious threat to human and animal health, and we don't have any very successful lot of antiviral treatments available. So only few antivirals have been identified, and their efficacy is still, I mean, we still need to work a lot on that, in that aspect still, because many antiviral drugs are there. Yes, they are being used in heart therapy or some other therapy, but still their efficacy, or we cannot say that they are 100%, they can treat a particular virus pathogen. Yes, vaccination at the end is, that is only the sure shot method by which we can prevent the viruses or we can manage them. So early and rapid. So this emphasis I always lay, when we talk about the viral diseases, in plants also, in humans also. So early and a rapid detection and a characterization of a viral pathogen. So definitely, as soon as we can identify them, so correct diagnosis, and somewhere the correct diagnosis will help us in, management, somewhere to look for the management of the particular virus also. Yes, Adhish, why are you so late in the meeting? Is he still there? He asked me to join. Yeah. So yes, correct diagnosis and early detection are the important tools that we have, that we can do something for the management of the virus. So it is not only important for deciding the treatment strategies, but then also to identify the prevalence of viruses. I mean, what different serotypes or isolates or the different strains of the viruses, because we know that viruses, they evolve very fast, especially the RNA viruses, and every now and then the new strains, they keep coming, so we need to identify those. So many viral diseases such as blue tongue virus, classical swine fever virus, Newcastle disease virus of a poultry, foot and mouth disease virus have been continuously raising serious economic problems in the field or in the cattle that we are dealing with. So blue tongue virus has been in the forefront of a molecular virology and is one of the best understood virus at the molecular and structural level at this moment. So conventional approaches are also being used in case of animal viruses. So this include the isolation of a live virus in a different cell culture, so virus cell culture, embryonated eggs, or through animal inoculations also. So detection of a viral proteins and a viral genome fragments are also being carried out. And in general, the viral disease diagnostic test can be grouped into three broad categories. First is the direct examination of the specimen. So direct examination methods are used for a rapid diagnosis of a viral diseases. So this is useful in clinical management of a diseases when actually treatment depend on the rapid availability of the lab results. So we can go for a treatment as soon as we are able to diagnose a particular virus. Then we have an antigen detection. So virus isolation is again the most effective and standard method for viral diagnosis. Growth of viruses was earlier being done by the animal inoculation. For blue tongue virus diagnosis, sheep inoculation was used as a diagnostic method. Subsequently, developing chicken embryo was used for isolation of the virus, and now we depend on the cell culture. So cell culture and the using different cell lines for culturing the viruses is the most efficient method that we can use today, because at the end, animal inoculations and all those things, or model animals, that also require a lot of animals, and at the end maybe culling of the animal could be there, and somewhere ethical issues are always concerned in these practices. Then microscopic examination. So live replicating viruses, we know they cause certain cytopathic changes in the infected cells. So they can be observed with the light microscopy also. But low sensitivity is biggest limitation of this method as a diagnostic tool. Then we have an electron microscopy where specimens, we do a negative staining of a specimen and we can scan the specimen by electron microscopy. Specification in the electron microscopy was based using immune gold electron microscopy by using specific labeled antibody labeled with the code. So immunomicroscopy, basically you're using some antibodies of the virus also for the detecting purposes, so which was more useful. Then indirect examination or a virus isolation. So virus isolation is again one of the method which is used where viruses can be grown in vitro cell culture, such as Newcastle disease virus, avian influenza viruses. Although it is time consuming, but the method is very sensitive and it offers maximum opportunity for subsequent viral characterization also. So cell cultures, chicken embryo, animal inoculation can be used. Various cell lines are also being established for viral isolation, such as N2A for rabies virus, porcine kidney cell line for classical swine flu virus, Viro for NDV and other viruses. Then we have BHK21 for blue tongue virus, MA104 for rotavirus, right? So number of the cell lines are available these days and a lot of work is being done using the cell line, whether we are doing research in the lab or in the diagnostic purposes. So viruses can be adapted in different cell lines, primary cell lines, monkey kidney, continuous human embryonic kidney, HeLa cell lines, Viro cell lines, right? So confirmation of the presence of virus in cell culture may be carried out by using neutralization, immunofluorescence, and other molecular tests, such as the PCR also we can do for the confirmation further. Again, the serological examinations, several type of serological tests are available for the diagnosis of a viral antigens or the antibodies. These are enzyme immunoassays, radioimmunoassays are used for IgM and IgG, whereas complement fixation test and HI, heme agglutination inhibition assay can only detect total antibodies, right? HIA we discussed in case of a human also. So newer techniques such as enzyme immunoassay are more sensitive and specific as compared to the classical technique, complement fixation test or other tests that we are using. Certain viruses such as influenza, flaviviruses, they have been detected using HAI testing. Then there's another test called agar gel immunodiffusion test and dot immunobinding assays, which were employed for canine distemper virus and feline parvovirus specific antibody detections in the Asiatic line. So these are all the methods which are being used for some of the viral diseases in the animals. Then we have a immunofluorescence also. So it is very commonly used rapid detection of a virus by detection of a virus specific antigen in a clinical sample as well as virus specific antibody. So this technique is used where reaction between fluorescein, which is labeled antibody, and a virus specific antigen in the specimen cell. Cells which contain virus specific antigen, they fluoresce under the UV illumination. So we can say that particular virus is present or not. So virus specific antibody can be detecting using indirect immunofluorescence, whereas specific antigen is detecting using direct or indirect immunofluorescence both. So the in vitro susceptibility of a goat mononuclear cells to blue tongue virus has been studied in Haryana using immunofluorescence tests. So these tests have been widely used and have been there are some research papers where people have used these kind of testing for the presence of the virus. Then we have a nucleic acid probes. So probes could be from a DNA or RNA, both, like we make probe in a human virus detection for a hybridization or a plant virus detection also. So blotting techniques can be used. So nucleic acid probes are segments of a DNA and RNA that are labeled with some kind of an enzyme or an antigenic substrate or a chemiluminescent or it could be radioisotope also, but we don't use a radioactive labeled probes because handling of a radioactivity again require a lot of precautions. So any exposure to the human by, I mean, if we are getting exposed to the radioactivity, that can cause a lot of health issues in the humans also. So we go for enzymatic labeled probes, which are available in the market. So these are very specific to pathogen specific nucleic acids. Probes can be directed to either DNA or RNA target, and around from 20 to thousands of a base pair long. So it could be as much as long as we want to meet, but minimum 20 base pair long probes are required for the identification. The presence and quantity of our hybrids are determined by detection of a labeling of a probe. So as I told you, it could be a radio labeled also, and could be a enzymatic probe. So labeling with a variety of a haptens such as biotin or a digoxin, DIG labeled probe, and detection by antibody binding coupled with the fluorescent or a chemi-fluorescent or a calorimetric detection methods it can be used. So recently, new category of a nucleic acid probes, which is called peptide nucleic acid probes, are also used for molecular diagnosis of the viral diseases. So molecular approaches again are the same. We go for a PCR, we go for a real-time PCR. They have been used for direct detection of a viral genome in the specimen, and which plays an important role in the clinical virology. So we know the DNA, the process is DNA is extracted from the sample, which can be probed by DNA hybridization and analyzed by, okay, hybridization techniques are combined with the restriction fragment length polymorphism also. So by those methods, we can see if what are the different kind of the viruses, if there are any viruses present, or are there any changes also in the some strains of some new viruses are available. So those can also be detected by RFLP. More commonly method is the polymerase chain reaction, where we require a set of primers, a Taq polymerase, buffer, DNTPs to use in the reaction, and the gene, whatever primer specific for a particular gene. Definitely we cannot amplify whole genome in one go. We target for a some conserved region in the viruses, could be some conserved in the code protein gene or other gene, and we design primer for those conserved regions, and then we go for the amplifieds. Then I told you that even the after amplification, we cannot be 100% sure that this is the virus which is present. Okay, I've got the amplification now. No, in PCR, many times the primers can bind to some false, other non-specific places also, and we can get amplification of some non-specific things also. So we cannot say that this is 100% sure. So after PCR, we go for a sequencing. We need to sequence our gene that we have amplified to PCR. So after sequencing only, we are able to say that this particular virus is present. Once we have maybe a code protein gene or other part of the gene of that particular virus is being sequenced, then only we can say that this particular virus is present, right? Then number of assays like RNA polyacrylamide gel lactophoresis, it's a page basically. Page is basically done for the protein. So there's a RNA page also which is being done. It has been employed for Newcastle disease virus or rotavirus and a bloom tongue viruses. Then a modification of PCR such as RT-PCR, real-time PCR, multiplex PCR. These are also being used in the molecular diagnosis of the animal viruses. Then this I found from some of the paper where they said that nowadays biosensors are also being employed in the animal virus detections, right? So what are biosensors? These are the certain kind of analytical devices. These are important solutions for fast and efficient infectious disease diagnostics. Due to their simplicity, we just don't need to do much, not much equipment is required, and it is very small, and on a real time, directly on a real time, that we can say that particular virus is present or not present. We don't need to run any gel, we don't need to do anything. So over the past 30 years, number of biotechnological innovations have provided biosensors for bacterial and viral detection and monitoring. So some emerging systems, they have resulted in some prototypes that have achieved rapid pathogen detection without high level of sample manipulation, which is very inconvenient for the infected sample. So we just need some sample. We don't need to go for a much processing of the sample and we can directly use. So in a biosensor, what happened? They recognize a target biomarker. So that biomarker is a characteristic for a particular pathogen by a immobilized sensing element, which is called a bioreceptor. So bioreceptor could be your antibody, it could be RNA, DNA, enzyme, tissue, or a whole cell that we can use, right? So bioreceptor is important component because its biochemical properties assure high sensitivity and selectivity of the biomarker detection, and then it permit to avoid interferences from the other molecules or other molecules which are present in the test sample. So specific biochemical interaction between the biomarker and the bioreceptor is converted into measurable signal by a transducer. Now, signal recording and display should then allow qualitative and quantitative pathogen identification. So if the pathogen is present, there will be some kind of a bonding, or there will be some kind of a interaction between the pathogen and that we are using. So that will result in the signal production. So that signal can be analyzed and we can be used for the determining whether the particular pathogen or a virus is present or not. So other techniques, as I told you, is the PCR, polymerase chain reaction, is a RT-PCR for RNA viruses, reverse transcription polymerase reaction, or a real-time PCR. Real-time PCR is also known as RT-PCR, but we call it real-time polymerase reaction. Multiplex PCR is again a PCR which is being standardized for identifying more than 2 viruses from one particular organism, right? Then we have a microarrays technology, we have a hybridization technology or a blotting technology, and then sequencing or a next generation sequencing, which I discussed in the last lecture also, that next generation sequencing are becoming, routinely employed in a different field of a virus research. So different sequencing platforms are available, different sample preparation approaches are available, which can be done for any kind of a pathogen, right? So through NGS, number of millions of fragments can be simultaneously run in one sequence, whereas in Sanger sequencing, only a smaller fragment, only one or few sequences we can run at a particular one reaction. So NGS methods can sequence entire genome of organisms in that we are working on, right? So this is the most advanced technique that we have today for the identification of the pathogens, and is very commonly being used, and the cost is also not that high these days. Earlier the NGS used to be very costly, but these days it is fine. If you're working in some research project, it is fine to use an NGS platform for the sequencing. Then virome, see, there is a particular term called a virome. So virome, when I'm talking about, like, I'm working right now on a Apple viruses. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm working on the diagnostic. I'm trying to develop a immunococktail diagnostic for the identification of 3 Apple viruses, or 4 Apple viruses rather, in a one go, right? So trying to develop some immunococktail kind of an antibody. So I'm working on that, but simultaneously I'm also looking towards the working on the virome of a particular tree. So virome, when I'm talking about the virome of an apple tree, so that means whatever viruses or whatever viroids are present in that tree, I want to go and identify that in one go. So that is again being done by a next generation sequencing. So I just need to provide some initial samples from that particular tree, and it will be analyzed for whatever pathogen, especially the viruses and viroids I'm focusing on. So in Apple, around there are 15 to 20 viruses and 5 to 10 viroids which are being recorded. So in one go, I can identify them all. And not only this, through this, even novel viruses or a novel pathogens can also be implied. See, RT-PCR, when we talk about the polymerase chain reaction or these methods, they have certain limitations. I need to design primers. So that means already known viruses or maybe some new strains can be identified by those methods, because I can only design primers for those the sequences are available already in the database, right? So nothing new. Only we cannot think of catching some or finding some new or a novel virus by using this method. But then NGS or a virome analysis, if we are doing through NGS technology, there we have a chances that a new viruses or a new virus or a new pathogen we can find through these sequencing technologies. So these technologies are really very useful in today's research, and we as a researcher or maybe as a healthcare worker, other people who are working in the healthcare system, we are relying totally on these technology for the identification of the pathogens, for identifying new strains of particular pathogens, right? So these technologies are very widely exploited these days, right? So that's all for today. So with this, we finish the diagnostics, but there's a diagnostics for aquatic. There's one topic in your syllabus where they talk about the diagnostic of aquatic viruses also. So maybe I'll take one more topic for diagnostic for aquatic viruses. So only techniques which are different for aquatic viruses. Otherwise, most of the techniques, they are same. I'm still repeating these techniques again and again because once, when you're hearing same thing again and again, so definitely you absorb more. So that is why it's, otherwise I could have finished this in one lecture only, just explain the technique and all these are used in the virus detection. But I'm still repeating them. I'm still going separately for the plants, animals, or human or aquatic, because the repetition will make you absorb things more clearly. So that is why I keep asking you. But I don't know why I don't get response. I get very less response. Sometimes, I mean, earlier you used to be very active. Your presentation, that was so good. I was really impressed by that you all presented well. But still, when it comes to the class discussion, somewhere I see some kind of inhibition is there, or what is there. You all don't participate. Only few students they participate, right? At least reply. आप देख के आंसर करो, कम से कम आंसर तो करो. That will give me a somewhere a satisfaction level that okay, now they are answering. चाहे आप देख के आंसर करो, चाहे आप कैसे भी आंसर करो, but at least do something, reply, participate in the class. So your participation in the class is very important, right? Sometimes it becomes so monotonous that I feel only I'm saying and no one is responding. So when I ask question, I expect, when I have told though, and if you don't understand, then ask me that you have not understood this. I can explain again, right? So these are the repetition of the techniques that you are doing, and believe me, you all are being taught these techniques at the graduation level. Otherwise, at the graduation level, people usually PCR and all these high-end techniques are not being taught to the students. So these, you'll see how useful these techniques are to you when you're going to the masters, if you all are planning or some are planning for a master's level, because there you'll have a separate instrumentation, a advanced level course. और उसमें क्या होगा कि आपको बेसिक्स ऑलरेडी आता होगा, so it will be very easy for you guys. So those students who come directly without studying all these techniques, it becomes very difficult for them to grasp at the master level suddenly, all of a sudden, such a high level. So for you guys, you are given a basics of virology, immunology, you're given the molecular biology. So in molecular biology also you study all these techniques, right? And in virology also I'm teaching you these techniques. So this will be very useful, believe me, this will be very useful for you if you want to be in the science for a higher education, right? So please try to participate in the class. This is important for me also and for you also, right? So if there's anything you want to discuss, please open for discussion. And in the meanwhile, I'll be publishing one assessment question also.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, how we can predict that our result is not a false
युवराज
negative?
युवराज आप बेटा, मुझे आपकी बिल्कुल आवाज नहीं आ रही है. There's lot of noise in your voice. Either you write your question so that I can know it. Okay, in the meanwhile, he's writing his question also. So I'll just quick assessment question for today's class. This will be in the form of a Microsoft form only, so you just need to write in a 4-5 lines quickly. Okay, I have assigned one question also. And in the meanwhile, let me go through what Yuvraj is saying. युवराज आपने कुछ पूछा लेकिन मेरे पास कुछ क्वेश्चन आया नहीं. Okay, how we can verify that our result of diagnosis is not a false? See, Yuvraj, for this is why we use more than one diagnostic methods. For example, if we are going through ELISA, then we confirm the result by the RT-PCR also, or in a sensitive cases we go for a real-time PCR also. So that's why we don't usually, in case of a complicated viruses or a human viruses or animal viruses or even plant viruses, we don't just rely on one particular method. We go for a two or three method once we before we confirm that one particular pathogen is there or not, right? Only 3 students have turned in. Others?
We have to write the names of the techniques only.
Only names. Yes, yes. Only names. I don't want any details. Just all techniques in plant, human, and common techniques. Just don't even differentiate कि किसको plant या animal में करना. Just number of techniques. Okay, students, in the meanwhile, please you all can switch on your camera for attendance also. Adhish Mishra,
Present, ma'am.
Athoiba,
Present, ma'am.
Ayushi Jan,
Present, ma'am.
Sam,
Present, ma'am.
Ishita Arora,
Present,
Janvi
ma'am.
Singh, Yeah, Janvi Singh. Yes.
Present,
yes,
ma'am. Present.
Kshitij Singh. Yeah. Kshitij.
Present, ma'am.
Manaswini Sridhar.
Present, ma'am.
Namrita Paul.
Present, ma'am.
Nandini Raj.
Present, ma'am.
Rupal Joshi.
Present, ma'am.
Sahiba. Sanjana Sharma. Yeah.
Present, ma'am.
Shakti.
Present, ma'am.
Shivani Mishra.
Present, ma'am.
Tanvi Sharma.
Present, ma'am.
Tridev.
Present, ma'am.
Vivek.
Present, ma'am.
Vivek, are you back to India?
Yes, ma'am. I'm back in India.
Okay. Yukta.
Present, ma'am.
Yuvraj.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So please submit your assignments today itself, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new chapter. Thank you so much.